Imagine looking up at the sky and seeing not just the moon and stars, but a magnificent band of shimmering rings encircling the Earth. What if our planet had rings like Saturn stretching across the horizon and transforming how we see the world? How would these rings change our environment, our cultures, and even our daily lives? Today, we'll explore the fascinating possibilities of a world where Earth is adorned with stunning planetary rings. The first and most dramatic change would be the breathtaking view from the ground. Depending on your location, the rings could stretch across the sky, creating a permanent celestial display. In some regions, they might appear as faint arches, while in others they could dominate the entire horizon. The rings would reflect sunlight during the day, casting a brilliant glow across the sky. At night, they would light up with a soft, silvery sheen, outshining even the brightest stars. The composition of Earth's rings would determine their appearance and behavior. If made of icy particles like Saturn's rings, they would reflect sunlight with dazzling brilliance. If composed of rocky debris, they might appear darker, with a more muted and rugged texture. The rings could also form distinct bands, each with its own unique color and pattern. Their composition and structure would make Earth a visual wonder, capturing the imagination of everyone who gazed at the sky. The rings would also create fascinating shadows on Earth's surface. During the day, they could cast delicate, sweeping shadows that move with the sun. These shadows might create cooler areas beneath them, subtly affecting local climates and weather patterns. Sunsets and sunrises would become even more spectacular, with the rings adding layers of color and light. The interplay of sunlight and shadow would create a dynamic and ever-changing sky, transforming how we experience time and space. Astronomy and navigation would be revolutionized by the presence of the rings. They would serve as a permanent marker in the sky, helping people orient themselves more easily. Travelers and explorers could use the rings as a guide, aligning their paths with their shimmering arcs. Astronomers would study the rings in detail, unlocking new insights into planetary formation and celestial mechanics. The rings would become a constant point of fascination, driving scientific discovery and human curiosity. The rings would also have a profound impact on Earth's natural environment. Their gravitational pull could influence tides, creating even more dramatic fluctuations than we see today. Coastal areas might experience higher high tides and lower low tides, reshaping ecosystems and human settlements. The rings could also affect weather patterns, altering wind currents and precipitation in unexpected ways. Their presence would create a planet-wide ripple effect, influencing both the land and the sea. For humans, the rings would quickly become a central part of culture and daily life. Art, literature, and music would celebrate their beauty, inspiring generations of creators. Religions and mythologies might incorporate the rings as symbols of divinity or cosmic balance. Holidays or festivals could be timed to align with specific ring-related phenomena, such as unique alignments or shadows. The rings would unify humanity with a shared sense of wonder, reminding us of our place in the universe. However, the rings might also introduce challenges and risks to life on Earth. If the rings were composed of rocky debris, fragments could occasionally fall to Earth as meteors. These impacts could pose a danger to life, requiring constant monitoring and preventive measures. Satellites and spacecraft would need to navigate carefully to avoid collisions with the ring material. Space exploration might become more complex, as the rings would act as both a barrier and a resource. Earth's climate and ecosystems would adapt to the rings in fascinating ways. The added light and shadow from the rings might affect photosynthesis in plants, changing the distribution of vegetation. Animals that rely on light cues, such as nocturnal or migratory species, would need to adapt to the altered sky. Marine life, influenced by the intensified tides, might evolve new behaviors to cope with the changes. The rings would reshape life on Earth, driving both challenges and opportunities for adaptation. Space exploration would take on a new dimension as humans studied the rings up close. Satellites and probes could explore the rings, analyzing their composition and structure in unprecedented detail. The rings might become a source of raw materials, such as ice or minerals, for future space missions. Orbital stations could be built within or near the rings, creating new platforms for research and observation. The rings would serve as both a scientific frontier and a resource for humanity's expansion into space. Cities and architecture would evolve to incorporate the rings into their designs. Buildings and monuments might be oriented to align with the rings, creating unique visual perspectives. Skylines would take on new significance, with structures framing the rings in ways that enhance their beauty. Observatories and viewing platforms would become popular destinations, offering breathtaking views of the celestial bands. The rings would inspire innovation in design, blending the natural and human-made worlds. Cultural identities might shift as communities developed unique connections to the rings. Regions where the rings appeared brightest or most prominent could become centers of tourism and cultural pride. Local myths and traditions might emerge, celebrating the rings as symbols of regional identity. Artists and storytellers would draw inspiration from the rings, creating works that reflect their unique perspectives. The rings would become a source of unity and diversity, shaping how humanity saw itself and the world. Education and science would thrive in a world with Earth's rings. Schools would teach children about the rings' formation, composition, and impact on life. Astronomy and space science would become even more popular fields of study, driven by the rings' allure. Scientists would collaborate globally to study the rings, fostering international cooperation and innovation. The rings would inspire a new generation of explorers eager to unlock their mysteries. What if Earth had rings like Saturn? It would be a world of breathtaking beauty, scientific discovery, and profound cultural change. This thought experiment reminds us of the wonder and complexity of our universe and the endless possibilities it holds. Thank you for joining us on this journey into a world of imagination and cosmic curiosity. Until next time, keep looking to the skies and marveling at the infinite wonders they hold.